Welcome to the Leaderonomics show. I'm with Dr. John Demartini, founder of the Demartini Institute, researcher, author, and speaker. And John, thank you for being here with us here in Malaysia. You've had such a checkered career, doing so many things and doing so much deep research. Tell us a bit about yourself and how you got into this space. How did you get to be who you are?
In a brief moment.
In a brief moment, yeah, absolutely.
I had learning challenges as a child, and I was a street kid as a teenager. And I met a lovely man named Paul Bragg when I was 17, who inspired me one night with one message in a presentation he did that made me believe that I could actually overcome my learning problems and learn how to read.
So up to that point, you couldn't read?
I didn't read until I was really 18. So I dropped out of school. And I got inspired that night and saw a vision, a dream, to overcome my learning problems and somehow become a teacher. And I wanted to travel the world and teach. So 45 years later, here I am.
Okay. Talk us through that. I mean, how did that, what swung the needle, for you to suddenly say at 18, I really want to start reading, I want to change my life,
Well, I saw the power of what one man could do with a message. And I wanted to do the same. So that night, when he spoke, he got to me. And I had a dream to do the same thing for other people. And I've never stopped. And I had to overcome my learning problems, which was slow and tedious. With the help of my mother, when I moved back home from Hawaii, I learned how to read, and I've never stopped. And I've read 30,000 plus books now.
That's what I saw.
Yeah, so I've been reading ever since. I've never stopped reading. I read every day.
And what's that message that you are out there trying to inspire the world with?
I believe that people have more of a magnificence, a capability than they realize. And they have a giant within. And so many people are living in the shadows of others instead of standing on the shoulders of giants and letting their giant out. And I love helping people with information and inspiration to help them access the greatness that they have inside, that they've been sitting there dormant with. And then it's because they compare themselves to others instead of compare their own daily actions to their own dreams. And so I love helping people wake that up and let that out.
Okay. And from 18 to where you are today, right? What were some of the obstacles, challenges, and issues that you had to deal with and overcome to get to this point?
Well, the first obstacle was my own learning, and then my own self-image. And then
self-image meaning your...
Well, just believing that I really could do everything that I seem to want to do.
So there's a lot of beliefs that you had.
Yeah, I had a lot of beliefs. I was told that I would never be able to read, never be able to write, never be able to communicate, never amount to anything, or never go very far in life when I was very young. And I had to go to speech pathologist, and I was born with an arm and leg deformity. So I had those challenges to overcome. But once I got really clear that I wanted to learn to teach, and I've been this very diligent student.
So you became a teacher, or you?
Well, I started tutoring at age 18. Once I started devouring books, my uncle, I told my mother that I wanted the greatest teachings on the face of the earth, the greatest writings humanity has ever seen, from around the world, from the greatest thinkers. My mom didn't know what to do. She thought that was quite a bit to ask. But she contacted her brother, who was a professor at MIT, and he sent, as a gift, 2 giant 6 by 6 by 6 foot wooden crates to my home, filled with thousands of books. And so I started reading 20 hours a day and just learning how to read faster and faster to absorb, because I wanted to learn the laws of the universe. I wanted to know what it is that made human beings master themselves and do something extraordinary. And I wanted to fill my mind with the greatest thinkers. And that's all I've ever wanted to do since then. I mean, that's just what I love doing.
And is that what you advocate now, that people should also be reading? And is reading something that you advocate?
Well, today we have all types of other learning, accessing to learning through video and audio. Reading is still valuable. And one great book is like sitting on a whole lifetime of a great master. So I'm a firm believer in learning. But I'm probably not expecting people to read as much as I do. But I believe that having them read and devour and become a specialist and become great at what they do is going to give them an advantage in life.
I have to ask this. I mean, after you having read so many books, right? what would be one or two books that you think stood out that you've reread many, many times and you've kind of taken to heart?
Well, I've told people that if they would like to have a good education, to go to Syntopicon Volumes 1 and 2 by Mortimer Adler, by the Britannica series, the Great Ideas. These are two great volumes that cover a breadth of information that has a person expand their awareness. And there's no way they can go through those and read those without giving themselves permission to play a bigger game. And so they start thinking themselves as astronomical visionaries instead of just local derisionaries. I'm a firm believer that we have the capacity to do something extraordinary, but we just don't give ourselves permission. And by feeding our mind and standing on the shoulders of great people, by feeding our mind with the greatest thinkers of the Western world or Eastern world, this gives us an advantage and speeds up the process.
All right, we're going to take a quick break right now, and we'll be right back here with Dr. John Demartini here on the Leaderonomics Show. Welcome back to the Leaderonomics Show. I'm here with Dr. John Demartini. Dr. John, you talked a lot about reading and and how much you've read, and now you do a lot of research. Can you share with us some groundbreaking research or some insights that you have, from all the work you've done over the last many, many years?
Everybody lives by a set of priorities, a set of values, things that are most important to least important in their life. Whatever's highest on their value, they're intrinsically and inspired spontaneously to go and do. They don't need outside extrinsic motivations to get them to do it. You don't need reminding or coaxing to get you to do what's really most important to you. Whenever you set goals and intentions as a leader, according to what's truly valuable to you, you will spontaneously go after it. You won't require any motivation. In fact, motivation is a symptom, not a solution. Intrinsic inspiration to do something that's a vision activates the executive center in the brain and allows us to go and do extraordinary things with clear vision and congruent actions. And so finding out what's truly most valuable to you and finding out what's truly most valuable to the world to solve a problem and to find the one that you can't wait to get up in the morning and do. This is one of the most powerful ways of awakening spontaneously the natural inborn leader that we all have, but we have sometimes laid dormant because we haven't been congruent and we haven't defined what it is we really love and what it is we really want to serve.
And how did you do that? I mean, I know you talked a little bit about that transition moment when you were 18, but what drives that passion, to wake up every day and continue doing the work that you do, to teach, to research, to continue to change the world?
Well, I can't think of anything else I'd rather do. This is what I love doing. People say, what do you do for vacation? I said this. My vocation and vacation are the same. I don't have a Monday morning blue, Wednesday hump day, thank God it's Friday, week friggin' end. My life is what I love doing. I learned to prioritize it. Leaders must learn to prioritize what they do and fill their day with high priority actions that inspire them. And otherwise their life will fill up with low priority distractions that don't. They need to delegate lower priority actions that devalue them and get onto the things that truly serve the most, that has the most meaning, that most inspiring. So they can't wait to get up in the morning and serve, so people can't wait to get that service. When they do, it's spontaneous. You cannot stop the evolution and expansion and incremental exemplification of power that you have as a leader when you do that.
But a lot of people struggle with that. I mean, they want to, the sort of, the heart is willing or the mind is willing, but the flesh is weak. They just can't. They're stuck in this rut, and this is how life is, and they just can't pick themselves up to say, I want to be different. I want to have that new life. How does one actually do it?
Well, anytime one sets a goal that is not congruent with what they value, they will self-depreciate. And the self-depreciate is not a symptom of something wrong with them. It's a feedback to them to let them know that they're trying to be somebody they're not. Envy is ignorance and imitation is suicide. We're not here to be somebody else and be second. We're here to stand on the shoulders of giants and be number one in what we do. So there's a value determination process that I developed, which I'll be talking about, that can assist people in getting clear and concise and congruent with what they really value. And by doing so, they increase the probability of waking up that vitality. Our vitality in life is directly proportionate to the vividness of our vision. And our vision comes online automatically, spontaneously, the second we're congruent with what's really valuable to us. Our executive center automatically activates the visual center and gives us clarity. And whoever has the most clarity rules the game as a leader. And so I love helping people discover what they already exemplified but have not honored.
Okay. And you'll be speaking today, I guess, in Malaysia on the 8 different. Tell us a bit about what you will be speaking about.
It's called the 8 Secrets of Great Achievement.
Okay.
But the great achievers. But I'm going to really give more than the 8 principles. I'm going to devour.
But what are some of these principles?
Well, first of all, is identifying what's truly valuable to you.
Okay.
Because that is where you're going to excel. Then identifying truly what is the cause, what is the void out there that you want to fill as a human being, as a leader.
Cause as in C-A-U-S-E, right?
The cause. What is it you want to dedicate your life to that's meaningful to you? Everyone deep inside has something in there they yearn to express. And if they had only 24 hours to live, they'd want to do it. And finding that out, those 2 things are very crucial, because then you don't require motivation.
Yeah.
I'm not a motivational speaker. I don't want to motivate people. I want to help them access what's inspiring from within, to help them wake up the power that they have innately waiting to come out. And when they do, they can't wait to get up and then serve people. And I want that. And helping people identify what's truly valuable, and helping them realize that that's what their purpose and mission is, really, is to fulfill that.
Okay.
And then to prioritize their life and learn to delegate things, and to make sure that they're doing the thing that gives them a competitive advantage, because they'll excel in that area.
So that's the foundation, the first 2, right? Then
Yes.
what are the other pieces?
Oh, there's one is you want to make sure that you metric yourself and measure your accomplishments on a daily basis relative to your own goals, not somebody else. We're not here to compare ourselves to others.
So when you say measure, meaning put in some trackable mechanisms
Yes,
to say that?
some people call it KPIs, some call it stats, whatever they want to call
Or a
it.
to-do list that you tick off.
But what you say you're going to do, are you doing it? And are you measuring it and chunking it down into small enough bites and making sure that it's measured and accomplished? So you have feedback every day. You need feedback.
So that is for feedback, and there's also a sense of accomplishment when you kind of take
That way,
some of
because when you do that, you have something to be grateful for every day. When you have gratitude, you're more grateful for life. Your heart is involved in what you do. People can tell when you're in business, when your heart's there, when you're really inspired by what you do, and they can tell the difference. When you talk to Warren Buffett, you're going to see that he is very inspired by what he does. And I find people who are really doing that, they have the competitive advantage because people want to be around them. Every human being desires to be around individuals who are congruent and clear and exemplifying the possibilities that they all strive for.
Right.
And so that is crucial to great
And
achievement.
so what are the next couple of steps?
Well, making sure that you actually delegate, as I said, and make sure you surround yourself with people who are inspired to do the things that need to be delegated along the way, and strategically planning. Okay. People that don't plan things and don't put things with foresight will be automatically, telenomically sit there with hindsight. They'll be sitting there with trial and error. And it's much more efficient to have foresight and mentorship than it is to go through trial and error. So planning ahead, strategic planning is one of the executive center's purpose. And people who do that, they get advantages.
Okay. Although there's many companies like Google and stuff who tout that planning is a waste of time. It's really about experimentation and other pieces. But you say planning. You're talking about the essential high level.
Well, to say that Google is not planning would be erroneous. I know people from Google. I've met with people from Google. They plan, so they don't just spontaneously ad hoc things. They may experiment with things. That's true. But they also have a plan of what they're trying to do, and then they go through the experiments. It's a combination.
Right. So as individuals, we'll have to do likewise.
You can't run a major company like Google without planning.
Absolutely.
You can't run I can't imagine anything that's great without foresight.
Absolutely. We're going to take a quick break right now, and we'll be right back here on the third segment here on the Leaderonomics Show. Welcome back to the final segment here on the Leaderonomics Show. We've been talking so much about different things that you've done, and some of the advice you've given on the 8 steps. One book you've written was The Value Factor, and you have a number of interesting insights in that book. Talk us through that.
Well, the essence is that, as I stated earlier, that when people know what they really value and they connect what they want to learn to their highest values, they absorb it. When they can see how nobody goes to work for the sake of a company, they go to work to fulfill their highest values. So if they can see how the job description and the vision of the company is helping them fulfill their highest values, they become engaged and they produce more, profitable. If they are wanting to grow wealth, they're going to manage their money according to their values. So if they don't have a value on wealth building, they're going to and they have more value on spending and on consumables and depreciables, they're not going to get ahead financially. And in relationship, when they're communicating with people, they have to communicate in the people's highest values, because that's what their identity is. And if they're not feeling appreciated and loved by their highest value, there's no communication. So you have to learn the art of communicating what you value in terms of other people's values. And people that are living congruent with their highest values wake up leadership. And people that live with their highest values have more poise and presence and more equanimity and objectivity, and their physiology gives more performance. And they're more inspired by what they do. So the Values Factor book is how to maximize our whole life in every area of life by living congruently and by prioritizing our life and giving ourselves permission to be the natural born leader that we have inside.
Yet 90% of the people do not live in congruence with their own values, right? Why is that so, and how do we...
The majority of people subordinate to other people and compare themselves to other people. They meet people, they think, oh, that person's more intelligent than me, that person's more successful, that person's wealthier, that person has a more stable relationship, that person's more of a leader, more influential, that person's better looking or healthier, that person's more inspired. As long as they compare themselves to other people, instead of compare their daily actions to their own dreams, they're going to minimize themselves, inject the values of others into their life, and attempt to live by other people's values, which is self-defeating. And this is what erodes the possibility of them waking up their genius. We need to not stand in the shoulders or in the shadows of people. We need to stand on their shoulders by realizing what we see in others we have inside naturally. And we're not missing it. Nothing's missing in us. We have the capacity to do extraordinary things if we allow the people that inspire us to wake up that part of us that's inspired.
All right. All right, John, we're going to put you through the Thinkonomic challenge. This is a challenge where you have to answer as many questions as you can within a stated time. So shoot, okay? Here's first question. What is your all-time favorite book?
The Syntopic in volumes 1 and 2.
Okay, you mentioned that. Is the world better with or without reality shows?
Is the world better without?
With or without reality shows?
Well, I think that our decision and how we interpret the reality shows is what makes the difference. There are benefits and drawbacks to reality shows depending on what they're trying to display.
You like reality shows?
I've been on reality shows.
Oh, okay, all right. What are the 2 impossible things you have done in your life?
Well, I don't know. They wouldn't be impossible if I've done them, so I would say they're improbable.
Okay.
Learning how to overcome my learning problems and becoming a teacher, traveling the world that I dreamed about, that's probably the most improbable as I was young.
Okay. Which is stronger, willpower or fear?
I think that the power of our mind, when it's congruent, is more powerful than fear. It has the capacity to transform fear into opportunity.
All right, very good. How would the world be if everyone could sense and read other people's thoughts?
We would probably have a silent world because we'd be shocked by what we read.
Yeah. All right. If you had the chance to empower a certain community, which one would it be?
I love sharing my message with people of all walks of life. I don't know if I would limit it to any one group. I've been blessed to go to reach the richest and the poorest and the most intelligent and the least intelligent. I love interacting with all of them.
Okay. What is the greatest invention ever in history?
The power of our minds, the awareness that we have the capacity to transform our lives by changing our perceptions and attitudes of mind.
Okay, so that awareness. Okay, last question. Would relationship be better without technology?
Well, technology, means to an end, and teleology was end in mind, and so life without technology will probably not advance as far as we could with technology. So thank God for technology. I'm very grateful for it.
Very good. All in record time. Fantastic. You know, I'm going to ask a couple more questions before we end this segment. Tell me, if you were to address a group of CEOs and you had to impart some form of wisdom or some sort of advice, what sort of advice would you impart to this group?
To them, I would say to make a list of everything you're doing in a day, every detail of what you're doing in a day, the actual actions, and make a list. Next to it, have a column next to it, how much does it produce per hour? What exactly are you doing and what does it produce per hour? Okay. Next to that, another list is how much meaning does it give you on a 1 to 7 scale, 7 being full meaning, 1 low. Next is how much would it cost to delegate that to somebody, replacement value. And the last column is how much time is spent doing it. And I go through there, and by doing it, you'll do a true objective evaluation of what exactly is most important to your life. Because if you stick to the things that are most meaningful, most productive, most inspiring, and the ones that are most efficiently done in time, you will end up at the end of the day thankful. And if you don't, you'll end up, in a sense, draining yourself. We are inspired and have tremendous vitality at the end of the day if we're doing things that are most meaningful, most inspiring, and most us.
Okay. My final question, if you were to meet a bunch of young people who just graduated from university or college and they're coming out to the world and I want to be just like Dr. John Demartini, I want to be, I want to help the world, I want to make a difference, I want to change the world. What sort of advice would you impart to these young people?
Don't try to be like me or anybody else, be yourself. Find out what you truly value. Don't compare yourself to other people. Find out what's inside your dreams and your heart and stick to that and prioritize that on a daily basis. If you ask yourself, what are the 7 highest priority action steps I can do today to help me fulfill what's most meaningful to me, most inspiring to me, that serve the greatest number of people most efficiently, if you answer that question and don't compare yourself to somebody else, you'll go farther.
All right. We've been speaking to Dr. John Demartini here on the Leaderonomics Show. John, absolute pleasure to have you on the show. Thanks
Thank
again.
you.